Hey everyone, DK here, and this is my review for Pitch Perfect 3. So just so you know where I stood going into this movie, I loved the first two Pitch Perfect movies. The first one, lot of fun, lot of heart. Second one, even better. In fact, I would rank the second Pitch Perfect movie among my favorite films of all time. Now, the thing you need to understand about Pitch Perfect 3 is it's not really a Pitch Perfect sequel. Okay, so the first two movies are very, very similar to each other. Structurally, story wise, there's not a lot of variation there. They do, stand apart from each other, but there are a lot of similarities overall. The third movie goes in a very different direction, enough so that I'd really call it a Pitch Perfect spin off, a genre specific Pitch Perfect spin off at that. They take most of the main cast and they've spun them off into this Pitch Perfect slash spy espionage mashup movie. It really kind of works, and it's really a lot of fun, I'd say. But if you go into the movie expecting Pitch Perfect 1 and 2 again, you're gonna kind of be maybe disappointed, but definitely a little put off at first. I was. When I was first watching it, I was like, what is this? I don't understand what they're doing with this and why this is happening. It wasn't until I realized that this is more a spin-off movie than a sequel that I started to understand what they were doing, and I was able to get into the movie a lot more and enjoy it for what it is. So here are a few things that worked for me and a few things that didn't. First of all, the musical numbers. They're kind of mixed feelings for me. They fall into both categories. Okay, on the one hand, the singing, the dancing, it's a lot of fun. It's great. The Bellas are always great performers. But these are straight down the line music numbers, okay? There's none of the fancy mashup numbers that you had in the previous movies. These are very much just, hey, we picked a song and we're singing the song. And one of the things that was so powerful about the finale numbers in the previous two movies is that they were an amalgamation of the songs represented throughout the movie. And so each of their finales, each of their big final numbers at their competitions were almost like a representation of their journey as the Bellas throughout the movie. And I loved that. In this, their finale number is just another song. And it's a good song and it's a good performance. But again, it doesn't feel like a Bella's performance, not that we've come to know and love in the previous movies. The other bands are good. I will say, one thing that didn't work for me is they set up the Ruby Rose character. They set her up to, and her band, who are called Evermoist, by the way, they set them up to be the main antagonists for the film, similar to the Troublemakers in the first film and Das Soundmaschine in the second film. But in this one, that thread fizzles incredibly fast. So there's the riff-off scene, which you've probably seen from the trailers or from movie clips that were released early. And after that, they have a few interactions where you can sense the animosity between them. But by about halfway through the film, the band, Evermoist, kind of fades into the background, and you don't see a lot of them for the rest of the film. If you're expecting a big final competition where you see this phenomenal Evermoist performance, and it's like, oh, how are the Bellas going to beat that? And then the Bellas come out and just rock the house. There's none of that. Instead, the second half of the film focuses on that mashup type thing I was talking about before with the spy espionage mashup. So Amy's father, Fat Amy, her father returns, and part of the plot is that he was involved in some really shady business throughout her whole life, and she actually ran away from home because of it. And when he returns, more shady stuff is going on, and it's up to her and the Bellas to kind of remove themselves from that and get free of his grasp. It's very amusing. I will say I wasn't expecting full-on action sequences in this, even though I'd seen the trailers. I knew there was some explosions and some fat Amy doing martial arts and stuff. It was a lot more than I was expecting, and also it was a lot more fun than I was expecting. I really, really liked it. So there's a lot of good humor. Just as you'd expect from a Pitch Perfect movie. I thought that a lot of the jokes really worked. There are a lot of jokes throughout the movie having to deal with them getting older, their lives not really working out. It's kind of a lot of I'm pathetic type humor. And while it gets a little repetitive at times, it's also still really funny, and I enjoyed it. Another thing that works is the Bellas themselves. Even though they're not all here for the sequel, most of them are. All of them at least show up at some point or another in the plot, but not all of them are singing together throughout their USO tour. But it's amazing, as always, to see their interactions. They are so much fun. It's just a delight to watch them interact, to watch them be this close, and to just have fun. You know, the sequences in these movies where they're just having fun and they're singing and dancing and goofing off and touring places together. I love those sequences. I could watch several more movies like this. And so the girls themselves are really great. More great performances. And in spite of this being probably my least favorite of the Pitch Perfect movies, I'd be more than willing to see another one. This group is that strong, and they're that much fun to spend time with that, you know, at this point, I don't feel like I'm personally done watching Pitch Perfect movies. Anyway, these have been my thoughts on Pitch Perfect 3. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.